So everybody and their mother is talking about Mason McTavish of the Anaheim Ducks. I'm not gonna lie, I am contributing to the problem here. We make videos anytime anybody says anything about this dude. Why? Because it's August and there's nothing else to talk about, and I have a personal quota that I want to keep to myself that requires me to upload a certain amount of videos every day. It's my full-time job, so I gotta treat it like one, folks. Just because there's nothing to talk about doesn't mean I get to take the day off. Let's talk today about Mason McTavish and the current status of offer sheets around the National Hockey League. Offer sheets have been a pretty big deal the past year and a bit. Ever since the Edmonton Oilers lost out on Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg to the St. Louis Blues, McTavish over here, at the time of recording this audio, still needs a contract for 2025 and beyond. So, the fact that he has not signed yet with the Anaheim Ducks makes him a prime offer sheet target, a cerebral tactician, a heavy shooter, and a puck handler, a guy who plays with that dog in him and who is coming off of a 52-point in 76-game campaign. There's a lot to like out of Mason McTavish, and if you are of the belief that long-term this guy can be a 65 to 70-point top penalty kill, second power play unit, top six center guy who's tasked with the most difficult minutes and who can play a very good two-way role, then I'd say you're probably in the majority, because a lot of folks think that Mason McTavish is destined for bigger and better things. It's kind of hard to do that with Anaheim, though. You got Mikael Granlund up there. You also have Leo Carlsson, not to mention Ryan Strome, all of whom can play center and who will probably be trying to take center ice minutes away from McTavish. This is a team that, heading into the next little while, does have potential. But McTavish could be on the outside looking in. Which is why we talk about offer sheets here. We've been talking about trades, but I do think the offer sheet route is, of course, the most interesting of the bunch, because we have ourselves an article that was published by James Murphy 5 days ago on August 1st, 2025, talking about the status of offer sheets in the league, and how one agent thinks that owners are holding up on the offer sheets to happen. This article will be linked in the description. It's a really good read by the veteran James Murphy. It has some key takeaways over here as well. The NHL salary cap has risen to $95.5 million, yet not a single RFA has received an offer sheet this summer. Received or signed? I think those are two very different things. I'm not going to go out there and question an NHL agent, but doesn't an offer sheet need to be signed in order for it to be publicized? Teams can send out offer sheets as much as they want, couldn't they? Like, the Canucks could offer sheet Mason McTavish at $3 million a year. Obviously, that wouldn't go anywhere, but they could have sent the offer. Okay, I'm trying to catch the writer here in a lie. RG spoke to a player agent about the matter who chose to stay anonymous. Anaheim Ducks forward Mason McTavish is one of the most notable RFAs at the moment. Let's scroll down and read what exactly is the situation here. After the Blues successfully signed forward Dylan Holloway and D-man Philip Broberg away from the Oilers with an offer sheet last July 20th, the increased salary cap so far has not opened up the floodgates for offer sheets this offseason. Even with the NHL salary cap rising from $88 million to $95.5 million and expected to increase dramatically throughout the recently signed extension of the CBA, NHL GMs have still resisted throwing down the offer sheet gauntlet. To understand why, RG spoke to an NHL player agent on the topic. Per the agent's request, they will remain anonymous. Here is the interview, as conducted by RG.org. Why haven't there been any offer sheets yet? Simple question, not so simple answer. The agent says, so, I've obviously given this a ton of thought over the past 2 years, really. But this year, I think it's really hit home just because there was so much talk about it early, the agent acknowledged. So here's my theory, if you will. I think in order to make an offer sheet, you have to overpay the player by definition, because otherwise, why would you even get the player? So I think what happens is fans and media and sometimes even the team management themselves are saying, if I believe in a player, kind of like what happened with the Oilers and the Blues last summer, I'm willing to overpay him because I think I'm going to get the value in the end. But what ends up happening is I think the management team has to explain themselves to ownership before they issue the offer sheet. I think the owners are competitive against each other, for sure, but they're more interested in keeping guidelines on salaries than they are on one-upping each other. So the owner then says to the GM, look, if they match it, then all we did is drive up the market. And I don't want to be the guy that's accused of doing that because then my buddy who owns the other team will call me and give me crap about it and say the same to the other owners. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Because if it were truly about competition, these offer sheets would be happening all the time. They're a great tool, as we've seen play out multiple times. They're a great tool if you get the player, and they're a great tool if you don't get the player, because you weaken the team you targeted. If that wasn't the case, then I think we'd see a lot more offer sheets. And so this aspect of it is so interesting. How offer sheets might not be happening because the owners are stepping in and saying, hey, we don't really want to be the team that does that. We don't want to drive the price up on the market. We don't want other owners to start talking crap to us. And we don't want to be the ones that will start this whole kerfuffle amongst other people in the National Hockey League. It's just not cordial. And I think that's the big thing that a lot of fans and media don't tend to think about. Like, of course, the NHL is the NHL. You're in competition every single year. You want to be better than everyone around you. But there does seem to be some sort of an attitude that owners have that is above the competition. That is like, okay, we gotta stay cool with each other. We gotta be all right with the other owner across the street or across the province or down over to the next province because these guys are our peers and we don't want to piss them off. Even though in competition you're sure to piss somebody off if you're winning or you're doing your job correctly. But that's the thing. These GMs are not being allowed to do that per this hypothesis. And I do think it's one of these extra situations that we might not have thought about at first. Now, this is where the article dives into Mason McTavish. Here is how more cap space is affecting this, with the prime example being the Anaheim Ducks, who currently have $21.3 million in cap space, and RFA forward Mason McTavish, whom so many speculated would get an offer sheet. The agent said, yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. When you go to your owner and you say, hey, I want to do this, and I think if I load it up front with signing bonuses, and let's double what I think they're willing to offer, I think that's a ballsy thing for a GM to say to his owner. Because if that cap space like Anaheim has exists, then the owner's going to say, okay, well, then you better be sure they're not just going to laugh and match it, because if they match it, then we look like idiots, and all we did was just increase the market for no reason. But like I said, even if they don't match, I think the owners still get pissed at each other, and no one wants that. I'm not obviously privy to it, so this is just my guess from my position, but I still think there's that old boys network going on. Again, I'm not on that side of it, but if this isn't the case, why haven't we seen any offer sheets yet? Ah, the old boys network, that's exactly what I said. Ah, my goodness, man. NHL owners are definitely a different breed of human beings, aren't they? I get it, it all exists in the shared capacity to make money, but at the same time, GMs aren't spending any money. They're not going out there from their own pockets. They're doing it on behalf of the owners, which is why GMs can go out there and sign whatever players to whatever deals they feel is appropriate. At the end of the day, if the owners are going to go out there and say, hey, I don't want you to use my money on this kind of a deal, that's it. Which is why we feel like general manager autonomy is so important in today's NHL. But with all that in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How does this affect the Mason McTavish offer sheet sweepstakes? Montreal, Vancouver, Detroit, whatever team you're going out there and cheering for. Seems like offer sheets are not on the table because maybe the owners are stepping in and blocking them off. How do you feel about this? Let me know in the comment section all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.